1. The Budget and Finance Committee is called to order at 4:33 p.m. I will start by calling the roll. Councilmember Mendez.
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Benedict.
Present.
Druffel.
Here.
Glover.
Here.
Porterfield.
Present.
Roten.
Present.
Sledge.
Present.
Swara.
Present.
Syracuse. Was that a Councilmember Syracuse?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you.
Sorry. Thank you.
I am here. Bircher.
Present.
Young. Councilmember Young. All right, we have a quorum. I will read the electronic meeting motion, and I'll need a motion in a second. Pursuant to Governor Lee's Executive Order number 65 regarding electronic meetings, I make a motion that this committee meeting agenda constitutes essential business of the Metropolitan Council, and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Director Cooper, can you take the roll call vote, please?
Yes. Allen.
Aye.
Benedict.
Aye.
Druffel.
Aye.
Glover.
Aye.
Mendez.
Aye.
Porterfield.
Aye.
Roten.
Aye.
Sledge.
Aye.
Swara.
Aye.
Syracuse.
Aye.
Toombs.
Aye.
Vircher.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 12 in favor, 0 against.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to items on consent. The following 9 items are on the consent agenda. Once I've read through the consent items, if you want to pull something off, if you could raise your hand. Resolution 2020-609, Toombs accepts a grant from the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services to the Metro government for the state trial courts to provide Tennessee Highway Safety Office recovery court enhancements to existing recovery court programs and services to improve alcohol countermeasures. Resolution 2020-616, Toombs Gamble approves an interlocal agreement between the Emergency Communications District and Metro government for partial funding of replacement 800 megahertz radio equipment in use by public safety officials. Resolution 2020-617, Toombs Gamble Styles accepts a donation of 3,000 one-gallon soft foam hand sanitizers from Steel Gorillas to the Office of Emergency Management for the use and benefit of Metro government departments. Resolution 2020-618, Syracuse Toombs Van Reese accepts an in-kind grant from the Friends of Two Rivers Mansion to the Metro Nashville Parks and Recreation Department to provide signage for Two Rivers Mansion in the 1802 house. Resolution 2020-619, Henderson Toombs Van Reese accepts a grant from the Friends of Warner Parks to the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation to partially fund the repair of Warner Parks Nature Center roof and chimney. Resolution 2020-620, Toombs Van Reese Welch Swara approves an application for a child and adult care food program grant from the Tennessee Department of Human Services to the Metro Parks and Recreation Department to provide nutritious meals and snacks for children attending after-school programs in 6 park locations. Resolution 2020-621, Toombs authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of Sarita Applewhite against Metro government in the amount of $16,500. Resolution 2020-624, Toombs authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the property damage claim of the Sherwood Green Homeowners Association against Metro government in the amount of $20,283.46. Resolution 2020-626, Toombs Nash approves an amendment to an agreement between the United States Department of the Army and the Metro Water and Sewage Services for the 7 Mile Creek Flood Risk Management Project. Are there any items that need to come off of consent? Councilwoman Suarez? Yes.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Suarez?
Thank you, Chair. Would you please take 616, please?
616, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilwoman Allen?
624.
624. Councilwoman Suarez, did you have something else? Your hand is still raised.
Sorry.
All right. 616 and 624 have been removed. So that leaves 7 items on consent. Resolution 2020-609, 617, 618, 619, 620, 621, and 626. Last call to pull something off of consent. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion to accept consent agenda.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Allen,
Aye.
Benedict,
Aye.
Druffel,
Aye.
Glover,
Aye.
Porterfield,
Aye.
Roten,
Aye.
Sledge,
Aye.
Suara,
Aye.
Syracuse.
Aye.
Toombs,
Aye.
Vercher.
Aye.
12 in favor, 0 against.
And Chair, this is Bob Mendez. I don't think Mr. Cooper called my name. I'm an aye vote on that also.
I apologize. I skipped right over you.
No worries.
All right, motion carries. Moving to resolution 2020-610, Toombs Welsh appropriates $200,000. I'm sorry. Appropriates $200,000 from the COVID-19 pandemic fund to various nonprofit organizations selected to receive community partnership fund grants. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Moving on to discussion. Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to make sure that I understand, there were a number of nonprofits that had money from the budget sort of put off because it was thought that we could redirect it from CARES. Can someone speak to the fact of whether we've been able to make everyone whole, or if this is a partial list and there's other nonprofits that are showing up under other resolutions, or if we were only able to do some and there are others that have had money that they're not getting that we still haven't figured out a solution to.
Mary Jo Wiggins is on the call. Ms. Wiggins, can you respond to Councilwoman Allen?
Absolutely. The combination of direct appropriations was 1.8 million and community partnership funds was 1 million. Now, recall on the community partnership funds, those awardees are not known at the time of budget. That is an application process. Mm-hmm. So this happens to be one of the departments. This was juvenile court, and they awarded these grants with their 200,000. And so there'll be others coming through 5 different departments for a total of $1 million.
Great, thank you very much.
Sure, I was just going to say more specific to the 1.8 million. Those were the ones that were specifically identified, and everybody who did submit their funding is in process of receiving, or their application is in process of receiving the funding. We had a couple that did not complete application and one that went out of business.
Great, okay. Thank you for that information.
Anything else, Councilwoman Allen?
No, that assures me. I appreciate knowing how the process is working. Thank you.
Councilwoman Bircher?
Thank you, Chair. And following up with Councilwoman Allen's question, if someone can speak to how the organizations were selected and how were they notified to apply. Also, this resolution is bundling, looks like funds for Meharry, Stars, Be About Change, The Fine Design, and Epic Girl. Do you want all my questions for all five? How do you want to handle that? Because I want someone to speak to each of the organizations for the viewing audience.
Your hand is the only one that's up, Councilwoman, so you can go forward with your questions.
Okay, sure. So just for Meharry, just for the viewing audience, if they can provide a brief background of the CHILL program and how many families and what's the demographic that will be receiving these grants for the critical bills. Also, do these grants prohibit these families from being able to receive other assistance as it relates to COVID-related expenses? And is there any type of collaboration with the CHILL program, any collaboration with MMPS for these particular families? That's from Meharry. For the Stars of Nashville program, again, just a brief background for the viewing audience. My question for that is, are they going to be collaborating with youth villages? Same thing, Be About Change contract, The Fine Design, and the Epic Girl. On one, going back to Meharry, if someone can speak to, there's a difference in money in the budget narrative versus the end. It's almost like a $27,000 difference, $26,549 difference. So if the budget narrative in the beginning, if that was just an estimate and they didn't know at the end, if they can just speak to that, because it's a different amount on the documentation submitted. Thank you, Chair.
Ms. Wiggins, can you respond to those questions?
I can respond to the overall process. I don't know if there's somebody from juvenile court that wants to talk about each one, but the departments have historically held open application process where they contact organizations that they have worked with in the past or that have reached out to them and had an application process. And this year was slightly different in that each application had to specifically address what was the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and how are these organizations specifically serving those who have been impacted by the pandemic. And if there's somebody from juvenile court who wants to go through those specifics.
Is there someone on the call from juvenile court? Director Cooper, do you know if we have anyone on the call from juvenile court?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I can address one of the questions, which was specifically about the proposed budget on Meharry originally being 50. That was their original request. And when the committee for juvenile court process heard all of the applications, they elected to award more than was originally requested. So the original budget narrative was correct. They had asked for 50. Through conversation during the application process and the interview process, the committee decided to award greater than that, which was the 76,000.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary Jo. The analysis that we receive, it doesn't explain that discrepancy for us, so we wouldn't have no way of knowing just how all of that transpired. So thank you so much. That really clarifies
Sure.
that.
And Councilwoman Bircher, there isn't anyone from juvenile court on the call. Do you want to get some type of follow-up to your other questions?
Madam Chair, I'm familiar with all the organizations. My questions are for the benefit of the public that's watching the committee meeting and how we're actually appropriating these COVID dollars. So it was more of a benefit for the general public, more so for myself. Chair, this would be my ask, and I don't know how we gotten away from it, but all departments, when they know they have legislation coming up as it relates to budget and finance, in the past, historically, they've been part of our meetings. Because you can't account for what questions may arise in committee. And I know we're trying to be more efficient in our committee process, but if the committees is the playground, so to speak, where we vet things and have various questions asked and answered, I would ask that if we can get back to that directive for the various departments, especially when they know they have legislation coming before the Budget and Finance Committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Council Member. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Allen,
Aye.
Benedict,
Aye.
Gruffel,
Aye.
Glover,
Aye.
Mendez,
Aye.
Porterfield,
Aye.
Roten,
Aye.
Sledge,
Aye.
Suara,
Abstain.
Syracuse, Councilmember Syracuse, Toombs,
Aye.
Vercher,
Abstaining.
nine in favor, 2 abstentions.
All right, motion carries. Going on to Resolution 2020-611, Toombs, Evans, Johnson, Welch accepts the recommendations of the COVID-19 Financial Oversight Committee to amend Resolution 2020-394 to permit Metro Nashville Public Schools to use CARES Act funds for student and teacher laptop computers, hotspots, and pre-K through grade 12 virtual curriculum for students and school supplies for remote learning. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could someone from MNPS just give a little clarification on what the money is moving from and what it's moving to?
Chair Toombs, is it okay if I answer?
Yes, it is.
Hey there,
Mr. Clay.
This is Chief of Staff from Metro Nashville Public Schools. Thank you, Councilman Allen, for the question. So this is a great thing that we all look for Metro.
Hank, you're gonna have to speak up. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me better now? Okay, this is one of those great examples from Metro government that all citizens want, where we have very close collaboration between you all and Metro government of making sure we're using every penny very efficiently, also taking advantage of state and federal funds where they are available. And so, Councilmember, we applied for grants that came from the state government, were awarded those grants. And so this is moving some money around to be more efficient and make sure that we're maximizing how we're serving our students and teachers.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Vercher, do you have a question or comment?
I do, Chair. Just following up again on Councilwoman Allen's question. Mr. Clay, I'm interpreting this to be a reallocation. So the funds, the prior funds, what happened with those funds?
We use those for the purposes with which they were allocated. So we use those to purchase student computers and hotspots. Subsequently, the state issued grant applications that we competed for, one for about $11 million to pay for those similar items. And so this is repurposing this money to pay for the items that you see listed there. They include the teacher laptop to help cover the teacher laptops, the online curriculum, student supplies, so that we can best serve our students.
Okay, absolutely. We definitely want to do that. So are these additional laptops and hotspots from what the council approved prior with RS 2020-394?
No, ma'am. This would be, those laptops were purchased. It was off because of the way that the accounting has to be done, and I would defer to Metro Finance on clarification around that. I believe I would describe it as it had to be reimbursed. And then since those funds were then freed up, this is making sure that we're maximizing every penny that you all have very generously allocated to our students and teachers.
Okay, Chair, can we get someone from finance? Just to clarify, are we reallocating or if this is a reimbursement? And if so, the legislation that we authorized initially for the 24 million.
Yep, this is very good.
This isn't adding up. If we can just get someone from finance to explain it to the Budget and Finance Committee and for the viewing audience. Thank you, Mr. Clay.
Yes, this is Mary Jo Wiggins with Finance. The $24 million was originally allocated for laptops and hotspots, and the laptops were just for students. And then after the funding was received from the state that would cover a significant portion of the student laptops and hotspots, MNPS came back to the committee and asked for approval for the $24 million to be spent on a broader range of items, which now include some student laptops and hotspots, but also the teacher laptops and the virtual / digital curriculum, along with some school supplies. So it's really a reallocation of the original 24 million. The first 24 million had a narrower focus than this reallocation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wiggins. So, Chair, is it appropriate for this to be a new resolution or Director Cooper, if you can answer that?
Yes, ma'am.
We're basically changing what we've already authorized, what we authorized previously.
Right. This is a new resolution that is reallocating funds from that prior resolution.
Okay.
So,
thank you. Thank you, Director Cooper.
Yes,
I got it now. Thanks. Ahead, Chair.
Chair Toombs, I believe you're muted.
Councilman Sledge.
Thank you, Chair. I have follow-up questions from what Councilmember Vercher was asking about. So I want to get a little bit more clarity from MNPS. If we are reallocating funds that were initially to go wholly to student laptops and technology and now are partly going to student laptops and technology and then also going to teacher laptop and technology, if I understand correctly, what have the teachers been using up to this point?
Chair, are you okay with me to respond?
Yes, Mr. Clay, you may respond.
Thanks. This is Hank Clay with Metro Nashville Public Schools. Thank you, Councilmember Sledge. So the teachers, thanks to you all generosity through previous capital expenses, have had computers over the years. As you might expect, those have become dated, and with very intense demands on the workload of those devices, they were not sufficient. And oftentimes, I'm sure many of you heard of stories of teachers using their using personal computers, et cetera. And so we prioritized this as something that we needed to be able to cover, and had looked at the combination between first capital and then when we were able to take advantage of some state grants, making sense to use, if you all approved the Metro CARES Act to help support it.
So, Chair, I want to follow up on that because I think many of us within the council have seen, and I will speak personally, I have seen schools in the district that I represent just getting laptops in the last couple weeks for students. And so my question to MNPS would be, if we are just now going to reallocate funds for additional technology, knowing what the backlogs are, what is the expected timeline of delivery of this technology?
Mr. Clay?
Yes, thank you. And thanks, Councilman Fudge, for that very astute question. So student laptops had a dramatic backlog because the entire country and world were buying the same device at a more minimal level. Teacher devices are a higher performing machine because they have higher performing task. And so there was not the backlog of that. And we have worked with Dell to be able to get those machines in to help cover them for our teachers.
Thank you, Mr. Clay. Chair, if you'll give me just one more follow-up question. My question is, I'm a little surprised that this is the danger, committee members, of when we ram through resolutions with less than 24 hours notice and review, because this is exactly what happened on the 24 million. So my question to MNPS is, did you know of the teachers' need for technology when you made the initial $24 million request? Because what it sounds like is that teachers have been working with outdated technology up to this point, and we are just now getting to the point of trying to replace that technology when, if there's no technology available for the teacher, it doesn't matter what the students have. So when was this need identified?
First of all, we would welcome any technology capital that the council wanted to allocate towards our students, our teachers. There's always more need, and we welcome it. I think we're trying to take advantage of every federal dollar that becomes available. Our first priority were the students, and I agree with your premise that student devices, if the teacher's devices aren't supportive, then you can run into issues. We first identified these to be major issues in August, and then started working with Metro Finance on what made the most sense, which pot of money made the most sense to be able to supply this need. And so we first went to see if MPS Capital made sense, and that was our backup measure. And then this funding became available, and it made sense to use this as the funding source. So, and I want to clarify too, that so the teacher devices are in the hands of teachers.
Sorry, Mr. Clay, you broke up right at the end. You said the teacher devices are in, like they're already ordered or already in inventory?
They are in inventory.
So I have to ask then, where'd the money come from to pay for them?
Our backup, because we saw this as such a need, our backup was to use MPS Capital for this purpose because it was, like you were mentioning, the top priority. This request is about being able to allocate that to the Metro CARES dollars to be able to allocate the funding towards that.
So this is and I think this spoke to Councilmember Vercher's questioning. So this is a request for reimbursement of MNPS capital funding that has already been spent.
I would defer to Metro Finance of how they would categorize it, but that sounds logical.
Could Metro Finance answer that?
Ms. Wiggins?
Yes, ma'am. If the teacher laptops have all been spent, then it would be reimbursement.
it doesn't sound like it's an if. It sounds like they've been spent. Has it been spent?
That's correct, Councilman.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're working with the same fact base. All right, finally, thank you, Chair, for your indulgence. I hope this line of questioning has been helpful to the committee. Once again, this is the problem with taking up resolutions that are late filed that allocate tens of millions of dollars of one-time federal funding that we received. We had $121 million in local CARES Act funding, and we put 24 million toward it when we knew that the need was greater. We knew that our teachers were working on outdated technology, and this is why I think I was the only vote against the initial resolution in committee, because we needed to take our time to get this right. So instead, now we are going back and reimbursing more capital expenditures that have occurred, or reallocating them, I guess, because we did get the state funding, thankfully, and I'm glad that we did. But I got to tell you, committee, like, I'm obviously going to vote for this because we need to get this technology in teachers' hands, but this has been done completely backward. And if this is how we expect to handle federal money going forward, if by God's grace we get some kind of second round of coronavirus related funding, I sure hope we have a better process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Porterfield.
Thank you so much, Chair. I just had a follow-up question for MNPS. Do you all know when the student laptops will actually be distributed to the students?
Mr. Clay.
Thank you, Councilmember Porterfield, for that great question. They are being distributed currently. As this committee knows well, when we have been working to get any devices in the hands of students, as the new devices that come in, and they are coming in rapidly now, we have been distributing those. And if anybody would like to volunteer, we have virtual help centers at 4 of our high schools that are out in the community. And it's a great way to be able to interact with our families and get them the support they need.
Thank you. And my apologies. Let me clarify. At what point will all of the laptops be distributed? At what point will all students have a new MNPS laptop distributed to them?
Thank you for the clarification. They will be distributed between now and the end of the calendar year as rapidly as possible.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I can't push a button. I'm on the phone.
Councilman Glover.
Thank you. So, Mr. Clay, as I'm sitting here trying to listen and trying to comprehend what I think is occurring, what it sounds like to me, and I'd like complete clarification, is that we've got a number of students that are, quote, in a virtual learning environment without equipment to virtually learn with. So, is that what I've been hearing?
Yeah, Chair.
Mr. Clay.
Thank you, Council Member. Respectfully, no, that's not accurate. What we did was, when we found out that there would be the backlog nationally of the student devices, we culled through every single building and asked for every single student who did not have a device, whether we could get them the device. We distributed those, but they are antiquated and needed this new technology. And so we got the devices to the students who were in need. And then as the new devices come in, we're replacing those based on our equity frame.
So am I to understand 100% of the students in Metro Nashville Public Schools have a device that is working properly, and there's been no hiccups as far as the learning environment in the virtual capacity of what has been occurring through MNPS? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, sir. What we did was we asked for the students who needed devices to raise our hand, and then we worked on distributing over 40,000 devices to those who said that they needed a device. To your point, we have had trouble with individual student computers breaking, and that's why we've set up virtual in-person help centers for our students in a virtual environment to be able to get the computers fixed. Obviously, you all have been very generous to allocate so much money from the CARES Act to be able to serve our students. And so with the new devices in, they're much higher quality and are sufficient for the students' learning needs.
Yeah, well, while I appreciate you think that there's a generosity there, what I don't think is that our students are being accommodated the way they should have been. So that part, that bothers me a tremendous amount. You know, we talk about we allocate in a 24-hour period. I think in that meeting, we were assured that, you know, we had to do it right then in order to make sure every one of these students would have it in time. Now, here we are in November, and if I understand correctly, and please correct me if I misunderstood anything, you're saying you hope now that they will have all of this to the students by the end of this calendar year. Is that what I heard?
Chair. Yes, Councilmember, you're correct that we expect to get all those student computers out. Like you, we also were hoping and planning and had a plan in place for those computers to be able to come in and get them out to students before the start of the school year. But as this committee and others widely know, there was a national backlog. To this committee's credit, because you acted expediently, we heard from one vendor, and this was replicated across other vendors, that literally they were getting 500,000 unit orders each day. And so each day it would have been farther and farther back. And so by the, you all acted very expediently. That allowed us to get us to this point that we're in, knowing that, of course, we wish that all the student computers could have been.
Well, I would love to feel all warm and fuzzy that we acted expediently and that quote, fixed it. But based on what I'm hearing, it certainly did not. Chair, while I'm not on the education committee and I'm certainly not on the school board anymore, this greatly disturbs me what I've heard tonight. And I don't know exactly how we track this through, but this is unacceptable. Because, you know, okay, we acted expediently to, you know, rush a $20+ million allocation through to get computers. We're thinking it's done. We're hearing from parents, or at least I certainly am, hearing from parents on a weekly, daily basis, in fact, that it is not working correctly. And now we come and we identify the problem through a reallocation resolution. And this is just unacceptable because the damage we're doing to our children is simply unacceptable. And I would truly hope MNPS will come back with us and give us a solution for how exactly we're going to bring our students back up to speed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Glover. Councilman Druffel.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. This goes back to Mr. Clay. Now that we're caught up, is there any other technology shortfalls that we should be aware of so that we can anticipate going forward?
Mr. Clay.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Chair Druffel. So we do not anticipate coming back using and requesting any additional CARES Act money. The needs for technology, of course, are immense for a school district our size. And so we are thinking ahead to make sure that our school buildings have the appropriate wireless technology, et cetera, et cetera. So, so the needs are immense, but nothing that we're going to be requesting from the Metro CARES Act.
And I guess follow up to that, the capital spending plan should be coming out, and I'm sure you made the request. Is there anything in there that's going to be required for technology to come through? Anything there that is going to be requested?
Chair, would you hold just one moment? Thank you, Chair. I was just conversing with a colleague. So what we're focused on are using our E-rate funding to make sure that we're maximizing every penny of that federal funding. Our capital will include stuff for the infrastructure around schools. And then eventually over a time period, we'd like to work with you all on our refreshment cycle for this devices to make sure that we keep our students with the technology that's needed, but that can be done a little bit at a time over future years.
Okay, last thing is just I would ask and expect that as there's CARES funding or other funding, since we're going to be short probably on capital spending, that we, or use every opportunity to use that funding prior to having to use spending, capital spending. Thank you.
Thank you. We agree, and of course, we're only here before you because we're able to compete and win the $11 million that helps to supplement the city's funds. So thank you.
All right. Councilmember Suara, then Allen, then Vercher. I thought I saw Councilmember Sledge, but I guess you put it down. Councilwoman Suara.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Clay, I want to go back to some of the questions, and I want to make sure that we try and clarify some of these things. As an MMPS parent, I remember that one of the questions that I was asked was if my daughter has a computer at home that she could use, and if she does, then they did not give her a computer. So will it be correct to state that because of the shortage, what MMPS did was prioritize kids that do not have computer at home and make sure they have one?
Chair.
Mr. Clay.
Thank you. Yes, council member, that is completely correct. Thank you.
Okay, so basically, I'm not happy that we did not get all the computers. Some of the things that I'm hearing, I'm bothered by as well. But it's not that all the kids were left at the lodge. We make sure that the ones that don't have anything as a backup at home were able to get one. And now that we're getting all the computers, we're trying to get it to everybody, including my child that did not get one the first time. Is that what we're doing?
That's accurate. Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure, because I think it's very disturbing to know that kids are at home without a computer and they're left like that and nothing is happening. So I wanted to, because I'm a parent and I went through that form and all of that, to be able to clarify that the little that came in were prioritized to those students that don't have any backup computer at home. And if you do have one, you have the option to use the one you have at home. Now that we have all the computers, then we're replacing it to all the students. So the question that I have for you, Mr. Clay, is this. I know that we're now reallocating money to get teachers' computers and some other supplies and things. The fact that we've not distributed all the computers to all the students, even more, those like mine or those using their home computer, are we sure there's enough for every student before we do the reallocation? That every student would end up getting one?
Mr. Clay.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you for the very astute question, and yes, that's accurate. Yes, we are sure that unless some additional act of God happens, that we will have sufficient number of students. A number of computers for all of us.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I do want to say that it's very important. I echo what everybody says, that whatever information that we're giving, that is very clear, because we made decisions based on what you're telling us. And if we hear something that is different, it changes the dynamic of the whole thing. We cannot say one thing at one time and then another at another time, and it's very confusing. I know about that because I'm a parent in MMPS. If I did not, all of this would have sounded like exactly the way it sounded, like the kids did not get something to use. And so we really need to be very careful with our choice of words and what we're doing, and we need to be upfront with all the information. So I hope all the kids get the computer, and I hope that whatever kinks we have, that we do take care of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to follow up on what Councilmember Suara said, I've been on the Chamber's report committee, so I've had the opportunity to be shown what's been going on behind the scenes in Metro for the past 4 or 5 months. And I appreciate the amazing innovation and speed with which they have pivoted in crazy circumstances to try to think through a priority system and and you know, we're all kind of building the airplane as we're flying, so it's hard to know exactly what to be doing when. But I feel like they've made a tremendous effort to identify the priorities and to get the computers into the hands of the children that had nothing to start with, and then to continue to refine that, hopefully all the way out to everyone having something new. But even just to realize that the hotspot, I mean, having a computer and having a hotspot, and then having to have instructions for some families to even know what to do with the computer is something that the school system has worked really hard on from what I've seen. So, Mr. Clay, could you just possibly clarify a little bit more in terms of the sequence of events? By the time students started back to school in August, my understanding is that every family you were aware of that had let you know that they didn't have a computer of any kind had some kind of computer at that point by the time school started. Is that something you could verify?
Mr. Clay.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember. Yes, that is accurate. Any family who we did it both ways. We asked for people to let us know, and then we also sought to contact people in case they didn't know to let us know. We tried to not let any stone be unturned. And then to go back to the timeline a little bit more, our provider had told us at the time when the resolution was coming to you all that we would receive the computers. That kept on getting pushed back. And then that resulted in the situation that we had, that we did not get all the computers in time. So you're correct.
And so that's when the ones from the carts in the schools got dispersed and other things to get things into kids' hands. Okay, I just appreciate the creativity of working with the circumstances that we had, and also then continuing to try to get additional funds so that we could stretch our dollars as far as we could. So I just thank you for all the effort y'all have put into it. I know it has not been easy for anybody.
Well, thank you. And Chair, if I may.
You're fine.
I'd like to thank all the principals and teachers. They're the ones that are doing this amazing distribution work. Our technology team has been amazing. They completely rethought how to image computers, which took a process that took about an hour and a half per device, and now it takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Our student support services team that's focused on social emotional learning to students has gotten out and had anywhere between 8 and now 4 sites spread all over the city to help students who need additional support where the computer wasn't working. And so it's just the team at MNPS, it's just incredible to see how they stepped up and try to help out and make sure the priorities are where the priorities should be. And it's a very genuine, sincere offer. Please come and volunteer at our student support help sites. It's so rewarding. You get to see what you all have put in the hands of our students going out, and how beneficial that is. So thank you.
Councilwoman Vercher.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to go back to the beginning of one of my initial questions. I'm not going to belabor the point, because we are what we are, and many of us voted for RS 2020-394 with the understanding that it was an emergency, and that the needs of the students and families and would be met then. My question is a matter for the record. The documentation I have, how the resolution reads, and the analysis, it doesn't speak to that MNPS used capital funds for laptops. So this resolution is basically stating that we are reallocating, when in fact this is a reimbursement back to them, because they've already spent dollars. They didn't spend the COVID dollars, the CARES money, but they've already spent dollars. So I'm concerned how this resolution reads, because how it reads isn't necessarily the action that we are actually taking, if that makes sense, Director Cooper. Nowhere in the resolution does it convey that we're using these CARES monies to reimburse MNPS back for their capital costs for laptops for students, hotspots and supplies, and et cetera. So if we, just for the record, what we're trying to do, this resolution isn't conveying that. And I don't know, to make me comfortable with it, I don't know how we fix that, Director Cooper, because it's not a reallocation.
Councilmember Vercher, I can work with finance and legal tomorrow. I mean, the resolution language came from them. Based on my review of it, it appeared that it was an accurate description of what was being done. And as it was explained to me by MNPS, they received grant funds after the initial allocation that they could use for the laptops. And so this freed up some money that could be used for some other things. And so therefore there was a need to reallocate it. That has always been my understanding of the transaction, if you will. But I can get with finance and legal tomorrow and see if there's anything that needs to be changed in the resolution.
Thank you so much, Director Cooper. It just puts me pause when we have committee members asking where did the money come from, and we thought this had already been rectified. So thank you so much. I mean, we don't want to delay this. I just want the language to reflect accurately what we're doing as a committee and what we're doing as a body. Here.
Is there anything else, Councilwoman Vercher?
That's all I have, Chair.
All right, I don't see any other hands in the queue. Director Cooper, if you could take the roll call vote.
Ma'am, Allen?
Aye.
Benedict?
Aye.
Councilmember Druffel? I know he had to leave at 5:25. Councilmember Glover?
Aye, and I have to leave at 5:30.
Thank you. Councilmember Mendez?
Aye.
Porterfield?
Aye.
Roten?
Aye.
Sledge?
Aye.
Suara?
Aye.
Syracuse? Toombs?
Aye.
Vercher?
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 against.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to Resolution 2012. Toombs Gamble Welch appropriates $200,000 from the COVID-19 Pandemic Fund to various nonprofit organizations selected to receive Community Partnership Fund grants. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Let's see here. I don't see any hands, so we are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote?
Ma'am, Allen?
Aye.
Benedict?
Aye.
Glover?
Aye.
Mendez? Councilmember Mendez?
Aye.
Porterfield?
Aye.
Roten? Councilmember Roten? Sledge?
Aye.
Suara?
Aye.
Syracuse? Toombs?
Aye.
Vercher? Councilmember Vercher?
I'm abstaining.
8 in favor, 0 against, 1 abstention.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to Resolution 2020-613. Hall appropriates $5 million from the COVID-19 Pandemic Fund and $1,500,000 from the General Fund reserve fund for the continued operation of and repairs and equipment for the Bordeaux long-term care facility, and requesting the Metro purchasing agent to negotiate an emergency contract for the operation of the facility from and after January 1st, 2021. Is the sponsor on the call? I do not see him any longer on the list.
Move to defer by rule.
Do we need to take a roll call vote on that, or is that automatic?
A deferral by rule is automatic, so no votes.
Okay. All right. Deferred by rule. Moving on to Resolution 2020-614, Van Rees authorizes the Metro Development and Housing Agency to enter into a pilot agreement and accept payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes with respect to a multifamily housing project located at 600 Creative Way, known as the Briarville. Is the sponsor on the call?
I am here, but not part of the committee, so someone will have to move it.
Can I get a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. Council Member Van Rees.
Yes, hello. I am very excited about this project. 600 Creative Way is next door to Nashville College of Art, right at the south central entrance to Madison. And the family is extremely excited about the opportunity to be able to present the community affordable housing. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them, but this has full community support.
All right, I am looking through the list to see if there are any hands for further discussion. Councilwoman Virtue.
Thank you so much, Chair. If maybe I'm overlooking it in the analysis, what would we be getting if this was not a pilot? What would the property? What would we be collecting in property tax?
That is in the analysis. You'll give me 1 second. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, Director Cooper, I'm getting used to this new format on this.
Yeah, so are we.
Councilmember Vircher, the payment, this is Matt Wilshire from MDHA. If you guys can hear me, the payment is $22,000 a year, and the estimated value of the abatement is $435,992. So it'd be approximately $457,000 would be the value, expected tax receipts without the abatement.
Thank you, thank you,
Matt.
Thank you. Chair, if I may, just to clarify, this is 184 units, 92 two-bedroom, 92 three-bedroom, available at 60%. So on the AMI, I believe, and Matt, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the math is that they would be able to rent to a family of four, making up to about $49,000 a year at that. And I'm very, very anxious to do this. Part of my goal has been to build mixed income communities. There are brownstone townhomes across the street that have just sold for $400,000. So they'll be living in a neighborhood that is extremely vibrant, creative, and has a vital mixed income purposely generated. And by it being near the Nashville College of Art and the hopeful eventual traffic signal there coming in and off of Ellington Parkway, already working with WeGo about possible transit opportunities. So this is just a perfect place to be able to make sure and build a mixed income community in an area that's quickly, without this, would become gentrified.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'm looking through the list to see if there are any additional hands. Seeing none, we are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the, oh, wait a minute. Councilwoman Vercher?
Yeah, is the abatement for 10 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
All right, I don't see any other hands. We are, Councilwoman Allen?
Yeah, just to clarify, is the affordability for 15 years? Can Mr. Wiltshire clarify that?
Yes, it is. That's the requirement under LIHTC, and I believe that it's actually because it's receiving a 4%, it's actually going to be for 30 years. The minimum under federal rules is for 15 years, but generally THDA is only awarding 4% for folks who agree to re-up for a 30-year period.
So for 10 years of abatement, we get 30 years of affordability. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Great, thank you.
One other just quick note here. I mean, I heard you guys were ready to call a vote. It's always dangerous to speak when there's a vote, but I think it is worth noting that this is the first time that we have essentially used almost all of the cap. Following, if this is approved, we would have approved almost all the $2.5 million cap. And over the 5-year life of this program has contributed to the creation of 4,442 units of affordable housing. Collectively. And I think it's just a testament to a very cost-efficient creation of affordable housing in Davidson County. This body's done a great job with that.
All right, I don't see any other hands. We are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote, please?
Allen?
Aye.
Benedict?
Aye.
Glover? Mendez?
Yes.
Porterfield?
Aye.
Roten? Sledge? Councilmember Sledge? Councilmember Suara?
Aye.
Councilmember Toombs?
Aye.
Vercher?
Aye.
7 in favor, 0 against.
Okay. All right, motion carries. Moving on to resolution 2020-616, Toombs Gamble approves an interlocal agreement between the Emergency Communications District and Metro Government for partial funding of replacement 800 megahertz radio equipment and use by public safety agencies. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Suara.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a quick clarification. I don't want to hold us up. This radio equipment in another resolution will be shared or leased with the U.S. government under another resolution that I saw. I guess my question is, the equipment cost about $5 million, of which Metro is paying a certain amount of it. Will any of this, or did we look into whether the U.S. government will give a grant or will pay part of it, or will do something, especially since they will be using the same equipment?
All right, Director Cooper, do you know the answer to that, or can Ms. Wiggins?
I don't know the answer, but it would either be finance or probably general services that may know that.
Chair, this is Mary Jo Wiggins with Finance. I'm not familiar with the use of the equipment, so I would look for general services to reply.
Okay. Is there someone from general services on the call?
I do not see anyone.
Mr. Jameson, I see your hand up. Mr. Jameson?
Sorry, Madam Chair. Took me a moment to find that mute button or unmute button. I've made note of the question. I just wanted to report that I'm contacting General Services now. If I don't reach them, I'll report back to you and to the council member first thing in the morning.
Councilwoman Suarez, is there anything else?
No, that's it. And I don't want to hold up the vote. It's something that we're going to do. I just wanted to know if we have any way of recouping part of the cost. That's all. But disagree. I'm not holding up the vote for that reason. So, but I still want the clarification.
Okay. Councilman Hall. Councilman Hall.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Me being late out this year. I don't have down in the board though.
I'm sorry, your voice broke up. What did you say?
I coming in a meeting a week. I don't have great internet. I indulge, so down in the board though.
Okay. Councilman Mendez.
I was just going to mention on this from having served on the Electric Power Board, including being the chair before I got elected. Metro and NES have a strong interest in being completely in control of this system. And there's a strong public safety interest in having as many life safety organizations as will work on the system, be on the system. So there's just one integrated system. And so from the perspective of, and I'm sure Mr. Jameson will check this out, but to Councilmember Suarez's question, I think the primary goal would be to maintain complete control over our own communication system, not be looking to have others, and I think getting grants from the federal government would implicate others having control. So I think the answer is probably going to be no, and that there's good reasons to maintain complete control over it for NES and Metro for life safety reasons.
Thank you, Councilman Mendez. Mr. Jameson, your hand is still up. Did you want to add something?
No, Vice Chair or Madam Chair, my apologies. I'll remove my hand.
Okay. And Councilman Hall, did you want to add anything? I know you said you had a bad connection, but your hand is still up. If you could put your hand down. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, still can't hear a word that you're saying. So I'm gonna, okay, thank you. Seeing no, Councilwoman Suarez. Did you have another question or a comment?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I was going to clarify that I thought Councilman Hall was asking about his Bordeaux bill, which was deferred by rule. So I think that was his question that I picked up from what he was saying. So not about this bill. I think he was just trying to find out what happened to this resolution.
Okay, Councilman Hall, your bill was deferred by rule because you weren't present at the time that it came up on the agenda. All right, Councilman Mendez, your hand is still up. Did you have something else? Okay. Seeing no other hands in the queue, we are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Allen?
Aye.
Benedict?
Aye.
Mendez?
Aye.
Porterfield?
Aye.
Roten?
Aye.
Sledge?
Aye.
Suara?
Aye.
Toombs?
Aye.
Vercher?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 against.
Okay. Motion carries. Moving to Resolution 2020-624, Toombs authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the property damage claim of the Sherwood Green Homeowners Association against Metro government in the amount of $20,283.46. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wondered, I would assume it's standard procedure when Metro damages someone's property that we reimburse them for that damage. I mean, contractors are required to do that. So I was just wondering why it required a lawsuit for association to recover funds for damage that had been done in the course of work that was performed.
Councilmember, this is John Cooper. There wasn't a lawsuit. It was just a claim filed with the claims division. And
Gotcha.
I think the reason it took so long was I don't think Metro knew about the extent of the damage or what the repair costs were.
Okay, so this is, I mean, when Metro accidentally damages something, this is the process that is to be gone through to recover those costs. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
All right, looking through the queue, I do not see any additional hands, so we are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote?
Allen?
Aye.
Benedict? Councilmember Benedict? Mendez?
Aye.
Porterfield?
Aye.
Roten?
Aye.
Sledge? Suara?
Aye.
Toombs?
Aye.
Bircher? Councilmember Bircher?
Aye.
7 in favor, 0 against.
Motion carries. Moving on to resolution 2020-625, Toombs Nash approves a contract between the Metro government and Southern Sales Company, a division of Tincarba Machinery, to provide various products, parts, and equipment for specific brands of water products for the Metro government. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Suara?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to maybe just make a note that when we got these fiscal notes, I did not see the sole source justification form. This is a 20 million contract that is being sole sourced. And I just want to make sure that when we get this type of contract that we get the form with it all the time. Now, I was able to get Ms. Zeitlin to get a copy for me. And looking at the sole source form, it did explain that Southern Says is the only source in this area. It also has affidavit from some of the manufacturers of this equipment that actually says that we can only get it from Southern Sales. So it makes it easy to understand the rationale and to be able to go through all of that before the meeting. I know we request for it, but I know that we did not get it this time. And I just want to go on record that this is something that would allow us to be able to make a better decision if that is included going forward.
Thank you, Councilwoman Suara. Director Cooper, is that something that can be included with the fiscal analysis that we get?
Well, it really probably should be attached to the resolution when finance files it, so we can make that request and have purchasing include that at the time. I always do get it, and the information in the analysis is from that form, but we can have it included as an attachment.
That's great.
Thank you. Councilwoman Allen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There was a reference to a discount. I just was wondering if we could find out what that discount was. 5%, 10%? Is that?
It varies depending on the equipment. It is an attachment to the resolution, so you can actually see it through the insight form, but it varies depending on the specific equipment and brand.
Okay, I'll check out the attachment. Thank you.
All right, looking for other hands, seeing none. We are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote?
Allen?
Aye.
Benedict?
Aye.
Mendez?
Aye.
Porterfield?
Aye.
Roten?
Aye.
Sledge?
Aye.
Suara,
Aye. Aye.
Toombs,
Aye.
Vercher,
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 against.
Motion carries. Moving on to late filed resolutions. The first one is Sepulveda Johnston Gamble accepts the recommendations of the COVID-19 Financial Oversight Committee to distribute $500,000 in CARES Act funds from the COVID-19 Pandemic Fund to Pathway Lending to provide rent relief to vendors at the Nashville Farmers Market. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing no hands, we are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote?
Allen,
Aye.
Benedict,
Aye.
Mendez,
Aye.
Porterfield,
Aye.
Roten,
Aye.
Sledge,
Aye.
Suara,
Aye.
Toombs,
Aye.
Vercher,
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 against.
Motion carries. Moving on to the second late resolution, Johnston Gamble Sepulveda amends Resolution 2020-515 and Resolution 2020-516 to increase the individual grant amounts for eligible live music venues that receive federal CARES funds and transfer $1 million in CARES funds designated for live music venues to CARES funds designated for small businesses. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Suara?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know that I've seen music venues before with COVID fund. And so I just wanted to make sure that I understand this. Are we saying we're not giving it to the live music funds anymore? Or we're not giving $1 million to them and then we're putting it into small businesses? Just an explanation of what we're doing here.
Ms. Wiggins?
Yes, Madam Chair. The report from Pathway Lending as far as who has already received funding from the Live Music Fund was that there was $474,000 that had been requested and awarded, and there had not been any recent applications. And so this resolution will allow for those that have received or anybody else who continues to apply to receive 4 months instead of 2 months of operating expenses. But even accounting for that increase in funding, there is mathematically appears that we will have an extra in that fund. And the small business fund being administered by Pathway Lending has been completely accounted for. And so this would put $1 million from the live music venues into the small business, but that would still leave enough funding for additional live music venues to apply, as well as for those that have received funding to receive additional funding.
Thank you.
Councilman Sledge?
Thank you, Chair. This question is for finance. So I think an explanation was helpful, but I'm aware, and I think I don't know if any of our representatives on the CARES Act committee are on the call, but I believe there has been other music and musician related requests for funding that we have not yet taken up as a body. And I kind of want to put that out there, since we're potentially moving money away from the music industry into other funds, which of course are deserving. I don't want to pit one against the other, but it seems like this body was intending to specifically be helping musicians and people in the industry. And since there are other requests out there for that, I'm just curious as to why we're not considering moving that funding into another music related relief effort.
Councilwoman Sepulveda, can you address Councilman Sledge?
Yes, thank you, Councilman, for that question. If I'm not mistaken, Mary Jo, I believe you told us at our Thursday meeting that you had reached out to that specific group that was requesting money for musicians, and we still hadn't heard back. The reason that we decided to go ahead and transfer that money over for the small businesses was because based on everyone who'd applied and what they would have been awarded, we have already pretty much exhausted those funds, and so it was important to go ahead and get that money moved over. That doesn't mean that we won't necessarily address musicians in the future. We just thought it was important to go ahead and do this now.
Chair, do you mind if I ask a follow-up question of Councilmember Sepulveda?
Sure, that's fine.
Or it may be for finance, whoever is better equipped. So my understanding is we still have funding from the CARES Act. So why wouldn't we just allocate $1 million or whatever the amount may be from our unallocated funding instead of moving it from previously allocated funding?
Allocating the money that hasn't been allocated to the musicians, is that what you're asking?
Right. Why would we be moving funds that we as a body voted on to go toward venues instead of just allocating unallocated funds toward small businesses?
Yeah. So the way the committee has been doing it these past couple of meetings, we like to bring in the group specifically to ask follow-up questions. I know that some of the questions that came up in committee were, why would they not qualify for rent mortgage utility relief? So we wanted to make sure that we brought them in to ask those follow-up questions. We also like to set specific criteria and to make sure that they would be able to accommodate us in working with other organizations to keep track of who this money was being awarded to, demographics, zip codes, and all of that. So we like to have a thorough check, and that's why we like to talk to the groups before we actually allocate the money, if that makes sense. It might take another week or so until we come up with the decision, but we want to make sure that we're checking all our boxes.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Council Member. I guess maybe and I understand all that, and I think it's very good that the CARES Act Committee is vetting these and going through them. I guess maybe my question is for finance, that if we've got this, if we have additional funds that we have not allocated and we're sitting here with 8 weeks to go, why don't we just allocate unallocated funds? Why don't we just add unallocated funds to the small business program as these other requests are being received and considered by the committee?
Sure. This is Mary Jo Wiggins with Finance. The funds that have not yet been allocated, in fact, at the last committee meeting, were discussed to specifically not allocate them additionally. It might be helpful to understand that we are not in danger of the funds being unspent. Quite the opposite. There are eligible expenditures that Metro has incurred that Metro itself has not applied, so to speak, for the funds to be allocated against. And the concern is that post December 30th, if there are no additional awards made by the federal government, we will have expenses that are related to COVID that we won't have funding for. specifically things like the lab testing, the temporary labor at the assessment centers, the shelters, and some of the other overtime and specific expenditures. Now we'd look to FEMA to cover as much as possible, but because we really don't know what the end is for this virus. I mean, we're certainly spiking, and there's concern that we not incur expense to the general fund, that we don't have COVID-related expenses in our budget. So the conservation of the funds is intended so that we may then be able to come back and apply the coronavirus relief fund to, or that we can apply some of our expenses that Metro is incurring. Specifically, what I'm speaking to our Metro public health and public safety salaries are eligible, like the regular pay, not just the overtime. They are eligible to be reimbursed by this CRF, and that is not in the original 48.8 estimate. If we were to do that, we would essentially deplete the funds and allow some room in our general fund operating expenses to then cover coronavirus relief related expenses post 12/30. So the committee wasn't looking, and Councilwoman Sepulveda, you may want to speak for the committee, but the committee was not looking to use up the 24.8 million and take the extra million out of that number, when we believed that the $2 million originally set aside for the live music venue was going to go unspent. And so there was a current pipeline, there was a current queue of small businesses. Those funds are already at Pathway Lending. So it created an efficiency to getting those funds to the small businesses and not leaving any funds that Pathway would eventually then return to us for live music venues if they went unused.
Chair, I have a follow-up question, but I know that Councilmember Sepulveda was mentioned, so I didn't want to interrupt if she had anything to add.
Councilwoman Sepulveda.
Yeah, what Mary Jo was saying is correct. We thought it would be expedient, and we wanted to make sure, since we constantly have small businesses that have been reaching out asking where to apply, and since our funds have depleted, we thought it would be efficient and quick. I also just want to clarify that the committee did speak about setting aside the rest of the funds and holding it for a minute to process everything. That does not mean that the committee, is deciding to use all of these funds for those expenses that Metro has incurred. It's just saying we just stated that we would be taking a pause at the moment to evaluate everything.
Okay, so Ms. Wiggins, so you have indicated that Metro is currently, and I want to make sure that I'm hearing this correct, that Metro has essentially gone through all the money that we first allocated as reimbursements for various items, salaries, PPE, shelters, the things that you named, and that we are currently incurring expenses that are CARES Act eligible. Is that accurate?
The second part is accurate. We are currently incurring regular pay, health and safety, the public health salaries and public safety salaries, certain ones that would be eligible. So we are incurring those, and they are not being included in the 48.8 million that has been allocated for Metro's emergency response. We have not incurred all 48.8 million in expenditures. Those expenditures, that estimate gets us through 12/30, through December 30th, which is the current expiration date. So we have not spent all 48.8 million yet. It is just still the current estimate to get us through the end of the year.
Got it. Great. That's helpful. So in clarifying that then, so it sounds like the main expenditures that you view as CARES Act eligible that are not part of the 48.8 are salaries and benefits of employees responding to CARES Act eligible items. Is that accurate?
You're exactly correct.
Great. Okay. Did we fund in the FY21 budget for the positions that we're talking about, or are these additional positions, service, overtime, benefits outside of the general fund that we approved for FY21?
They are already approved in the FY21 budget. So the salaries that I'm speaking to would be the regular pay portion, and they were included in the FY21 budget.
So if we reimburse those with CARES Act funding by 12/31, or at least I guess the portion that we can by 12/31, where does that funding that we allocated in the general fund for those positions go? Is it just stay in the general fund unallocated?
It does. Yeah, it essentially would become unexpended.
Got it. So
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ms. Wiggins. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The idea is that then we would have unexpended general fund dollars that we would come back and ask to cover coronavirus relief related expenditures that were not in the budget, and that because the CARES Act dollars have expired, that we would then have those funds available so that we weren't dipping into, the budget that didn't exist.
Sure, totally understand. Do you have the number, like the estimate of the CARES Act eligible benefits and salaries outside of the 48.8 million that are reimbursable?
So, because of guidance that came along the path, the guidance was actually pretty. When it started to speak to this public health and safety salaries, it's actually been quite generous. And what the eligibility criteria is that we would need to know which of our public health and public safety salaries were individuals who were responding to the coronavirus pandemic. And what the guidance actually says is that for quote unquote administrative convenience, if we know that those individuals have substantially dedicated their roles to that response, their entire salary may be charged to the fund for the time period March 1st to December 30th. And substantially is also not defined. It is for the city, for the municipality, for the direct recipient of the funds to determine that a significant portion of their daily role and activity is in response. So we far exceed, for that 10-month period, we far exceed, in fact, our original 121 million in public health and safety salaries. We would not go back into the prior fiscal year. So we would look at quantifying from July 1st until December 30th. And even in that period, we far exceed the total that we have left. So currently, the 24.8 million that is not allocated at this point, we have more public health and safety salary that would qualify than that number itself.
So do you anticipate coming back, because we have 4 meetings left in this calendar year. So do you anticipate coming back in one of the, I guess, 3 really that would be remaining to request most or all of the remaining funds to reimburse for those expenses that you just indicated?
Yes. In the last council meeting, we extended the date of recommendations for the committee meeting to the December 15th date, which means the oversight committee would have to make that recommendation in time to be on the December 15th agenda.
Got it. Okay.
We could do it sooner, but that would be the last date possible.
Sure. Thank you, and thank you, Chair. My final statement here, and I think this is all extremely helpful, and this is the kind of information that we need to be asking, I think, as a committee. And I appreciate Ms. Wiggins kind of laying it out here, because the reality of the situation is we're going to go through Thursday's meeting with the requests that are on our committee agenda right now, and we have 3 meetings left, members. And what I understand finance to be saying is that there are already expenses far beyond the remaining funds we have that are eligible to be reimbursed that are far beyond the approximately 24 million that we have left in local CARES Act funding. So I don't know about every other member, but I'm receiving requests from multiple organizations, multiple groups who are saying, we have people who are hurting now. We are in danger of closing our doors as a civic institution. We have incurred these expenses. And I think what we got to be very upfront about is the fact that the monies potentially have already been spent. It's up to us to decide if we're going to reimburse from our local CARES Act funding to cover those, but the money's already spent. And that's the problem I have with this legislation and moving from essentially a live music venue support to small business support, because we are pitting those groups against each other. I don't think intentionally, I don't think anybody's doing this intentionally, but that's what we're doing. We're taking from one pot of community-run organizations, and we're putting in another pot of community-run organizations with the very, very, very real possibility we will never allocate a single additional dollar of CARES Act funding to any community organization because our eligible metro expenses have already exceeded what we have. So I really, really want the committee to think about that, because we are going to have people coming to us in the next 6 to 8 weeks saying, we are done if we don't have this funding. We are losing our house. We are closing our doors. And if we have already allocated that funding to metro expenses, we won't be able to help. Chair, I really appreciate you letting me talk through this. I know there may be others who have questions. I want to let the committee know I have nothing against this resolution, but I'm voting no because we're about to steal from Peter to pay Paul, and we got to feed both. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sledge. We have one more resolution after this one, and affordable housing still has to meet. I want us to talk through the legislation before us, but just let's be mindful of time. I'm going to go to Councilwoman Vercher and then Councilman Mendez.
Chair, I just want to thank Ms. Wiggins for that insight. A lot of what my colleague Councilman Sledge articulated is going to be some of the points that I wanted to express too. But this takes me back to a few resolutions that we just voted on, dealing with metro schools and the language in that resolution. So is the reason that and Director Cooper said it was crafted by finance, is the reason behind that the language in these resolutions is because of what Ms. Wiggins alluded to as it relates to what's reimbursable for CARES and what's not reimbursable for CARES, and related expenditures to us as a government due to CARES. I think as a committee, we're trying to grasp these reallocations of allocations and no allocations of unallocated funds. So I think that's where a lot of us, and I don't want to speak for my other colleagues, but we're trying to make sense of it, especially when we're still getting people, and I don't want to belabor it, still getting people saying that they're not getting the help. So if Ms. Wiggins can speak to that, because this is going to come up again Thursday on the floor, and I'd rather us just hash it out here in committee, so that council members that watch our committee before the meeting, it may not be prolonged during the council meeting.
Yes, Councilwoman Vercher.
If that question makes sense, Ms. Wiggins, like.
Yes, Councilwoman Vercher, I think so.
Yeah, as a body, we're approving things, and then you're coming back, and then we're reallocating something that we approved, and at the time we think we're doing.
Yes, Councilwoman Vercher, this is Mary Jo. You cut out, and I'm just afraid I don't want to cut you off. But I think I understand your question.
Done a great job, but it's a little muddy.
Okay, so if I hope this helps clarify it. Let me first talk just about specifically with the live music venues. The idea is that we're not taking away from the live music venues. We have reached out to them. Pathway Lending has done a great job reaching out to the organization, the Alliance, to make sure that we're not missing anyone. We think we could still get some folks in, but we think that leaves dollars that would not be tapped into. So in that particular case, it was really about making sure those go back to where the need is. And we still see the need in the small business grant fund, which was very quickly, completely accounted for. So this gives more funding to that group, specifically to say the rent, mortgage, utility assistance. There is still funding available there. We anticipate that to go right up to the very end of that period, which has been extended to December 28th. When I refer back to the expenditures that we have incurred at Metro, that regular pay of public health expenses and public safety salaries, I apologize if I confused. We have not submitted a resolution for those salaries to be covered. We have not baked that into the allocation. What we were really trying to do, and this is being done in several cities. I participate in nationwide calls on how to best use these funds. And quite honestly, this is a way of providing more flexibility. It's not locking us into just using the CRF to reimburse ourselves. The idea of using those funds to reimburse ourselves is so that after December 30th, in addition to addressing any coronavirus relief expenses for Metro, we would also then have the availability, should the funds be set up as perhaps another type reserve, that we could go back and help more nonprofits. We could help individuals. The concern is that many of the nonprofits who have received funding to date have to spend those funds by December 30th. And yes, the need right now is great, and those nonprofits are delivering those funds to individuals. But the concern is that after December 30th, so much of the need doesn't go away, that we will still have small businesses and maybe the venues, and we will have individuals who might need help with their March and April rent. They might need, nonprofits might be needing to deliver mental health services and food and all of these things that are an issue now are still going to be there after the calendar turns 2021. And if we don't receive any more funds from the federal government, we want to be able to have funds available to help those individuals and organizations, and even Metro perhaps, to make sure that those funds are available. So this is really a strategic use of using the funds for eligible expenditures, thereby freeing up regular general fund budget that could be used to create a whole new fund, a whole new reserve. And then those funds get allocated as approved and recommended into FY20 or through calendar 21. So I know that's kind of a lot at once, and I'm happy to address any little specific that I said.
No, I got it. I follow it. You hit it on the head. You said you hadn't. That's not baked in yet. So that's why a lot of us it wasn't necessarily adding up. So you hit it right on the head. You hadn't baked it in. So are you? So the 180 new positions for the sheriff, we're going to see that hit after this also too, right? Because those essentially are new positions.
Yes, with the change from sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page and that the committee and council members understand that's not part of the math that we've been talking about here. So thank you, Ms. Wiggins. I think that's where a lot of the confusion was coming from. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Councilman Mendez.
Thanks, Chair. I'll keep this brief. I want to just mention that this process for distributing the COVID relief money, to me, has had no surprises whatsoever. It was fully expected from the first time that this money came into the city's coffers that it was going to be insufficient for all the needs. So the idea that the money is all going to get spent with plenty of needs left unattended was always going to be the case. From my perspective, there was always, when the money got lower at the end of the year, there was always going to be a scrum or a scuffle over who gets the last dollars and where to spend the last dollars, because there was need that was left unattended. The whole purpose of setting up the COVID committee that we've got 3 of our colleagues on was to, on the one hand, make sure that the mayor wasn't just deciding unilaterally what was going to happen. Not that we distrust his perspective, but I think none of us wanted the mayor deciding unilaterally. And on the other hand, those of us who have been in the council for a while knows what happens when you leave it to 40 council members to have 40 different sets of ideas about which nonprofits to support. We get bogged down. We've always gotten bogged down. Every year in the budget, we get bogged down on where to spend nonprofit dollars. The idea of the COVID committee was that when it got tight, because there would be unattended needs, we would have a committee with credibility that would make recommendations how to spend the money. And I'm going to continue to support the recommendations of the committee that's got 3 of our best council members on it, because the alternative is for us to spend every last minute in the rest of the meetings of this year arguing over where the last of the money goes. And I promise you, the lower the total goes as we get to the last meeting, the more intensive and extensive the conversation is going to be. So I just want to weigh in that there is no surprise here. When the money got low, it was always going to become more difficult. That was the express purpose of the committee, to have a group with credibility to make the recommendations, rather than 40 individual council members make recommendations or one mayor make recommendations. And the last thing I'll mention, Chair, is I'm going to stick around as long as I can, but I didn't imagine that we would go this late, and I'll need to bow out soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Mendez. Councilwoman Vercher and then Councilman Sledge. If you have something new to add to the conversation, please be brief.
After Councilman Mendez, I do have something to add. Chair, we have to be mindful as a body when committee members are asking questions, they're asking for a point of clarity and understanding. We can't continue to have and I've shared this with Vice Mayor, just the discourse and some of the things the committee and council members are doing. We have to be able to have a constructive dialogue when it comes to these matters. These are millions and millions of dollars, and a lot of decisions are being made. Somebody got their phone. I'm done, Chair. I don't want to belabor the point.
Thank you, Councilwoman Vercher. Councilman Sledge.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be brief and I'll try to present something new. I want to push back against the argument that we're not trusting our colleagues or the CARES Act committee. I think we are trusting them, but we have to acknowledge as a body, that's a big reason we haven't seen a whole bunch of members bring resolutions trying to allocate out of the CARES Act committee, right? I mean, we haven't thought over this. But the reality of the matter is, Councilmember Mendez is right, this was never going to be enough money, and that's why we have to be careful about this. And the truth is, between what we've already allocated to Metro expenses and MNPS expenses, which we discussed tonight, plus what's eligible for reimbursement from our remaining funds, we could end up putting 3/4 or more of the local CARES Act funding we received into government expenditures, into reimbursing government expenditures. And that's not to say that that's wrong, but we need to keep that point clear, because when people come to us as members asking if there is relief, we have to have the full picture, and that is the full picture. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilman Mendez, your hand is still up. Did you need to add something? All right, seeing no other hands in the queue, we are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Allen?
Aye.
Benedict? Mendez?
Aye.
Porterfield?
Aye.
Roten? Councilmember Roten? Sledge?
No.
Swara? Councilmember Swara? Councilmember Toombs?
Aye.
Councilmember Vercher?
Abstaining.
That is 5 in favor, 1 against, 1 abstaining.
Okay, motion carries. And moving on to our last late file resolution. And before I read it, just to note at the next meeting, Finance is going to bring us some data on our COVID-19 funds, disbursements. I know we've done a lot of appropriations for those funds. And so I asked for some data so that we can know, who has actually received funding up to this point. So there's going to be a discussion around that at the next meeting. Our last resolution, I don't have the sponsor list, but I assume it's Toombs and Reese Johnson, accepts the recommendations of the COVID-19 Financial Oversight Committee to distribute $2 million in CARES Act funds from the COVID-19 Pandemic Fund to provide grants to nonprofit arts organizations. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilman Mendez?
I need to abstain on this one. Thank you.
Any other hands? Seeing none, we are on the motion. Director Cooper, will you take the roll call vote?
Councilmember Allen?
Aye.
Benedict? Benedict? Porterfield?
Aye.
Mendez is abstaining. Roten? Sledge?
Aye.
Swara?
Aye.
Toombs?
Aye.
Vercher?
Aye.
6 in favor, 0 against, 1 abstaining.
Motion carries, and that completes the business of the Budget and Finance Committee.